Okay, so in a moment, our Master of Ceremonies, Konteya Prabhu, will introduce me.
Hare Krishna. Ladies and gentlemen, Gopal Bhatta Prabhu.
Okay, do we have clicker? There's a tremendous amount of devotees that are behind all of this work. And in one sense, you could say that the ILS has two partners that are working in tandem. But then, technically speaking, I'm the person who's in charge, even though I don't like to think like that. But then Lakshmi Moni is my general secretary. I don't think many people would understand how she's my general secretary. She did all of the stuff under my guidance for the decorations. She organized the prasadam. She organized all the registration. She's not going to be included in here because she made this slideshow. And she's refusing to come here and receive your appreciation. On the other hand, she might hear you if you give her a very strong round of applause. That's good. That's great. So we need somebody to volunteer. Nishringananda Prabhu, volunteer. We're going to volunteer you. Just go out and tell Lakshmi Moni that big round of applause was for her. All right. So now we're gonna go through the entire team on we have two basic teams. This team, and then we have the seminar leaders. So we'll first go through this team. Here's the team leader. We have several team leaders. The personality of Godhead is so great that we can't just fit him into one place, right? Sri Sri Radha Madhava and the Astasakis. Haribo! Sri Sri Panchatattva Haribo! And Lord Jagannath. Now, many ILS people, some ILS people know this story, but Lord Jagannath became our leader, and he took care of us, and he continues to take care of us. It all started way back when, in 2004, when I came to Mayapur. We had to raise a lot of money, huge amount of money, and Jayapataka Maharaj asked me to come to a lunch. And he sat me down and he said, "You're never going to raise this money." And of course, you know, he is a very powerful devotee, very powerful devotee. So kind of like said, except unless you go to Lord Jagannath. Now, I hadn't been to Mayapur for a long time at that point, and so he told me the whole story about Lord Jagannath, how he actually grants boons, serious boons, but then you have to seriously give him something. And over the years, we've always given him something. The first ILS, what we did was that to give him what we felt he wanted, we had free buses going from the ILS to go visit him because we figured, okay, he likes to see everybody. That'll make him happy. So we had buses going, and every year we've given him something. So, yeah, we succeeded at raising all that money for that big problem that we had in ISKCON. And it was all by his grace and his mercy and his guidance. And so all of strategic planning, all of organizational development, he has our back, and he takes care of us. And when we come to Mayapur, we don't even come here first. We go to see him. We give him a complete report of everything that we've done since the last time we saw him. And when we leave, we go and see him. We thank him for all the successes. Yeah. Okay. Now, they put me on here, and I'm going along with this. Special thanks to Gopal Bhatta, who doesn't want his picture here. Sorry, but we made an executive decision without his help and guidance and support. Blah, blah, blah. I like the picture, though. Now, Konteya Prabhu is the smartest person I know. I mean, seriously. And he has a much nicer personality than me. So we put him as, of course, the master of ceremonies because he's far more gracious and I don't know. He has a flavor to him that's just absolutely great, especially when you put him on the stage. In a meeting, he can be a little tough sometimes, but... And of course, we have to thank all of you for coming. Big thank you. Give yourself a round of applause. During this meeting, I actually had the opportunity to at least meet probably 80% of you, at least in some brief moment, finding out where you're from and finding out how you're appreciating this event. And I have to tell you, it's one of the most rewarding periods of my entire life, meeting you. So you're just absolutely wonderful. I thank you so much for your association. And thank you for coming. We're grateful, okay, but we have to ask for forgiveness for any offenses that we've created. Maybe sometimes we've been busy and you tried to stop one of us or something, but we had to keep going. So we said, oh, Hare Krishna, whatever we did, please, please forgive us for any offenses. And in the meantime, also understand we tried very hard, especially being here in the Holy Land, to not create any offenses, but maybe we failed. Forgive us. Okay, so we have here the management of Sri Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir, and particularly Shubhekshana Prabhu. Where is Shubhekshana Prabhu? Are you here? He's managing somewhere. A very gracious person, and he's been very, very supportive of us. We have Lakshmi Govinda Prabhu. Where are you, Lakshmi Govinda Prabhu? See, I was told that none of these people would come. We asked them all to come. And I was told that none of them would come because they're just so humble. But Lakshmi Govinda, he's behind all the prasadam and so many things about the building and everything else. Wonderful devotee. Partha Prabhu is a liaison between the Gita Bhavan management, the Gita Bhavan kitchen, anything that you needed, we got it from him. He's fantastic. Bhakti Vinoda Nuga, I'm misspelling, I'm not saying that right. How do you say that? Yeah, okay, good. And, you know, all the stuff that we put up, you know, we made the campus nice for you. We wanted something special. And we hope you like it. Some of it is almost exquisite. You know, on site every day, laboring, took a lot of work. The kirtan tent was his special design. And then Susil and his crew, under Bhakti's direction, they built this temporary campus for us. Chandeliers, you saw chandeliers some places, it's nice. Sri Hari Prabhu, all the printing, the signage, all the different quotes of Srila Prabhupada. You saw them in the Prasadam tent. If you took the time to read some of them, they're fantastic. The display of all the departed Srila Prabhupada disciples is part of his work. Sachi put that whole thing. Have you seen that at night, particularly? Isn't it wonderful? Yeah, I mean, maybe it should be permanent. Wonderful, wonderful design. Where is Sachi? Again, not here. It's okay. They're like this. All painting, hand painted and everything. Just wonderful, wonderful display. Then we have Rupeshwar Gaurapurnima, and we have wonderful Disha. And the two of them managed the whole registration process, took care of you when you came in, answered all your questions, was of service to you. Wonderful, wonderful devotees. Oh, other names. Okay, good. Thank you. Ananda Manjari. Yeah, okay, good. It was very helpful in registering the Russian devotees. Thank you. Keep track of me so that I don't forget something. Lalita Manjari, where are you, Lalita Manjari? You must be here. So come on up for a second here real quick. Come on. Seriously, come on, move. Come on, come on. Come on. She was my full partner in serving all the seminars. One of the most organized people I know. She's also the executive secretary of the college and has helped us in the strategic planning for many, many years. But she kept track of all of the seminar. What we put the seminar leaders through was a little painful at times, but they had to submit a desire to, they had to submit a proposal. We had to kick it back to them a number of times. Maybe we should go this way, maybe we should go that way. Help them with ideas. They had to submit detailed outlines. They had to submit PowerPoints, simply so that we had a high level of quality. Thank you, Lalita Manjari. You and I we did wonderful together, and it was just absolutely great. Ashray Govinda Prabhu, always to be counted on. If we need somebody running to these different places like Kolkata or Krishna Nagar, bags, spoons, beautiful person. Bhagavatamrita Prabhu, happily in state, Bhavanamrita, okay, sorry. Sorry, Prabhu. And what was he up to? Oh yeah, kitchen religion, good. Wonderful prasadam. I have to say, I never heard one single complaint on the negative side, and on the positive side, I believe everybody loved the prasadam. Yeah. Now I don't know this, but I think in terms of mass prasadam, it might be some of the best prasadam, I don't know, for 7 days. And rarely did they make the same thing twice, except maybe they made rice. Jagat Guru Jayadev and Mali Madhava Das, they were arranging all the service, the serving of the prasadam. And the servants of the prasadam were super great, and you could just see joy in their heart serving the Vaishnavas. Just wonderful mood. If you needed a room, you needed bedding, we had Sankirtan Nitai Chand Prabhu. He took care of all of that. Maybe we had a few hiccups here and there, but you know, he did a great job. Rasgovind, where is Rasgovind? Rasgovind, are you here? He's not here. I'm telling you, they knew that we were going to do this. How many people know Rasgovind? Okay. Stay in ISKCON for 20 years. You'll definitely know him. This man is going to be a GBC someday. Seriously. And then Bhakti Pranesha. I never met him. And Narahari, responsible for the posting of the schedule. Oh yeah, I met him. Yeah, and we worked. And part of the great thing that happened in this ILS is that all the seminar leaders kept with the schedule and hardly changed anything. If you remember in past ones, there was always this long list of changes. We hardly had any changes, but the few changes we had, we put them up on the screen, and we didn't have to take any plenary time to do it, and that was their work, so it was very good. So that's the whole crew that helped us all on that side. The seminar. It's on that thumb drive. Yep. So we have 75 seminar leaders, and we're not going to go through each person because that would take a fair amount of time. I'm going to speak, generally speaking, about these wonderful devotees, okay? And in the meantime, watch the screen because it's going to flow through everybody. These, I've heard from many devotees that this was the best slate of seminars that we've had at any ILS. And, you know, just absolutely wonderful devotees. They all worked very hard on their seminars. They kept to their schedule. They poured their heart out, and whatever knowledge and insights they had to Krishna consciousness, they gave to you everything they had. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful group of people. And when you sit back and you look at all of them at one time, it's just, it could almost bring tears to your eyes because they're just such great, great people. And we're so fortunate to have their association. So, yeah, look at them. Amazing, huh? So they are the heart. They are the heart of this ILS. And we thank every one of them, falling at their feet. Thank you so much. Konteya Prabhu. No. We have had an appeal for some, you know, it's not easy to make a full film production. It takes a lot of work. And so we're going to spend a few minutes with one team and then a few minutes with another team. Let's start with Krishna Lila and Anuttama Prabhu and give us a quick rundown on things.
Hare Krishna. First, as Gopal Bhatta said, I just want to tell everybody that I'm really grateful to be here. It's really exciting. It's the highlight of every 2-year period. And we want to bring to your attention, I I believe you all have heard a few times, this is the 50th anniversary of the Governing Body Commission. And we know in the Western culture on your birthday you get a present. In the Indian culture you're supposed to give presents. So in that mood we have a present for you. We hope you'll take advantage of it. Some of you have already received this present. We want you to get it again, remind you of its value. Some of you it's the first time. But on behalf of His Holiness Bhakti True Maharaj, Pancharatna Prabhu, myself, the executive producers, and our director and primary writer, Krishna Leela, some of you have seen this film, Joy of Devotion. Some of you paid the fee to help us recover our several $100,000 cost of producing it. It's been a few years, and, Lakshmi's Chanchala, and, she gave us a little of it, but we're tired of waiting. We want to make it as a gift from the GBC and the ISKCON Communications Office. A few days before Gaurapurnima, this is going to be online. We're going to tell you how to find it for you to share with your communities as a free. Raise your hand if you've seen this film. Okay, about a third. So those of you that haven't, it's a wonderful resource. 2 award-winning films were produced the year of the 50th anniversary. Of course, Yadavar Prabhu is going to talk about his wonderful film, What's Going On. ISKCON Communications produced this documentary, The Joy of Devotion, and it features... Okay, talks about devotees around the world. This film takes off. Yadavar's beautiful film, it takes us up through the Prabhupada's physical presence here. This goes from there forward. What happened? Did Prabhupada's legacy continue on? Looking at it from the 50th anniversary. So we look at devotees around the world, interviews with scholars, talk about the work that we're doing as agriculture programs, the arts, with children, with food distribution. Here's a couple reviews. Vishaka Dasi, current president, leader, Brahmana, and teacher as a temple president in England. These devotees, these devotees, the men and women in the film highlights are spiritually vibrant and uniquely individual. Hearing from them, we appreciate their motivation and dedication. Next, reference from Satyaraj Prabhu. The juxtaposition between scholar and practitioner is very poignant in the film. The scholars lend gravitas and the practitioners showing bhakti in practice. Next. Inspiring, heart-filled, and heartfelt, a beautiful film about how filling and rich life can be. Please take advantage of this. Again, many communities you paid whatever the $150 we asked. Some of you, you couldn't do that. You didn't know about it. It's going to be online. It is a beautiful film. It won many awards around the world. We hope you take full advantage of it. And I think we have our trailer just to save a little time. Okay, let's go to the trailer. Comment from Shivaram Swami. These are some of the awards. Okay. And we just have a 1-minute trailer for you to let you know about it. Again, it's a gift to you on behalf of the 50th anniversary birthday to GBC, from the GBC and the GBC Communications Ministry. It actually starts without sound. There'll be some words on screen, so that's the way it's supposed to be when it comes up. In the meantime, you know the story about the man that walked into the library? Pause, so you just man, you know this old one's for your kids, okay? Man walks into the library and says, "Excuse me, madam, I'd like a veggie burger, french fries, and a Coke." And the woman looks at him and says, "Sir, this is a library." He says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'd like a veggie burger, french fries, and a Coke." We ready? Oh my gosh, I got to do another one? Okay, another one. I just had my list there. Okay, this one you probably... I'm too old. I know all the old ones. A Brahmin and a priest and a rabbi, okay? They're all talking together about, this is good for you fundraising people out there. They're talking about how they share, what do you do about with the money that comes into the temple or the mosque or the community? So one of them says, the priest says, the Catholic priest says, well, you know what I do? I take all the money from the collection box, I go outside, I draw a circle on the ground. Sorry if you've heard this one before. I throw everything up in the air. Whatever falls inside the little circle I keep, the rest is God's. Okay, and the rabbi says, that's interesting. I do something similar. I take all the money from the collection. I draw a little circle on the ground. I throw it up in the air. And whatever falls inside the circle, that's God's. And whatever falls outside the circle, that I take for my own maintenance. And then the Christian devotee said, the Hare Krishna devotee said, I have a very similar situation, but our tradition is based on a lot of faith. God's a mystic. He can do anything. So I take all the money from the box, I throw it up in the air, whatever he wants, he keeps. What's that? Okay, so this worked a minute ago, so we're still working on it. Okay, great. This was not a plan. Okay, also, while we're up here, I got the mic. There's a communications conference planned in the year 2020, Radadesh, from the 11th to the 14th of May, and in Washington, D.C. from the 17th to the 19th of September. So if you'd like to come and take advantage of those two international conferences, we welcome you. Also, Nityanandakari out there someplace? The ISKCON Communications 4-day course has just been put online through the Bhaktivedanta College in Radadesh. And beginning in April, you can take that course. A lot of devotees have wanted to take it but couldn't do so because they couldn't get to Mayapur at that time or different places where it's taught. So it is now going to be available online. It's just, there's 4 sessions over a period of 4 weeks. There's quizzes. There's something like 80 videos. How to do public speaking, how to understand networking, how to interact with the media, how to interact with religious communities, how to interact with the government. So we encourage you, the minimal fee, I think it's normally $79 euros. No, normally 99. Special ILS feature, only 79 euros for 4 weeks of training. It's it's very inexpensive, especially compared to the benefit of it. And I don't know how to dance, so I'm in trouble up here. I'm out of announcements, I'm out of jokes. Really?
Just tell the info.
All right, we'll fix it and come back later. We're just going to add the 1-minute trailer. But here's the important thing with the film. Write this down, please, or put in your ISKCONnews.org. ISKCONnews.org. You go to that site just about a few days before Gaurapurnima. There'll be a place you can link in for free. You can get this film and you can watch it, you can show it for your communities. And again, we're making this free for everybody. It's been out a little while and we're not going to worry about the financial package of it anymore. But the fact that it's free, please don't think it has no value. It's a beautiful film. Krishna Lila is a wonderful filmmaker and it'll bring tears to your eyes. ISKCONnews.org. Okay, please go there, ISKCONnews.org. While you're there, you might read a story or two and maybe tell your community about it too. Ongoing official news site's been up online for about 10 years. Thank you, ISKCONnews.org. Hare Krishna.
So we're going to... We need to reset the computer. We were going to put a map of the world up as one presentation. I'm going to go forward with that presentation while we reset the computer. We've mentioned a number of times, little by little, not much, that the GBC Organizational Development Committee is actually going to be traveling the world in these upcoming 6 months. The GBC has given us permission to go to multiple different yatras. For that matter, any yatra that would be receptive and would like to hear about the charter model. As we sit here right now, we plan on going to Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, South America, Brazil, we're on the schedule to go to Europe, possibly going to England. We still have to contact the leadership of Russia, but we are hoping to go there. We do have a direct invite to go to South Africa and quite probably Mauritius, Kenya, Botswana, and a few other countries will come to South Africa. We'll be passing through the Gulf states. And of course, in the United States, we'll be going to multiple places. That travel is going to be going to portray the charter model, show all of the benefits and the obligations that would be part of that, and then take feedback from all of the devotees that we end up speaking with. If you feel that if your yatra is big enough and you would like us to come, you can come and see myself or Konteya Prabhu. We look forward to seeing you. As you know, many devotees have told you, oh, you're from South Africa. Oh, yeah, we're going to be going down there. So those visitations we'd like you to know about.
Okay, this is the beginning. There's no sound, but it'll come on in just a second. This part has no sound.
We acknowledge our differences, we embrace them, and then we use them to our advantage.
The quality of one's heart is something that goes beyond whatever physical labels that we might put upon our bodies.
This is when you are head over heels in love with someone and you have to shout it from the rooftop.
So that's 1/3 of the trailer, so please watch the full movie. Again, ISKCONnews.org. A few days before Gaurapurnima, we'll have it up there and you can download it for yourselves and for your whole community. Very inspiring, wonderful film to show the community as part of your Gaurapurnima event. Okay, so there were two government ministers. They were talking to each other. One government minister said he was invited to a party, one of his colleagues, huge house. He said, my dear friend, how did you possibly pay for this house? And he said, do you really want to know? He said, yeah, come upstairs. He took him on the top of the house. He pointed off of the distance. He said, you see that bridge? He said, yeah. 50% of the cost of that bridge? Man said, oh, I understand. So a few years later, that minister was visiting his friend in his home country. Huge house, just a palace. He said, my dear friend, you're just a government official. How could you possibly afford this house? He said, you really want to know? He said, yeah. He said, follow me. This is government, okay? This is not Brahmins. This is not Vaishnavas. We don't do this. He said, you really want to know how I paid for it? He said, yeah. I said, follow me. He said, come up on the roof. He said, okay. He said, you see the bridge out there? No, I don't see it. 100%. I'm going to briefly introduce a devotee that doesn't really need an introduction, but this is a formal event, so we'll do so. Mayapur Prabhu is one of the great heroes of ISKCON. He and his wife Vishaka produced many, many films. Many of us came to Krishna consciousness, and the films that they produced gave us nourishment, gave us faith, gave us insight, gave us knowledge, and gave us inspiration. And we know the most recent film that he did, glorifying Srila Prabhupada, has been in theaters all around the world. It's a wonderful, wonderful contribution he's made. We're all deeply indebted to them. And let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I just came from Italy before I came to Mayapur. And the film happened to be released in Italy. I don't know how that happened because the DVD has been released. It's online streaming. But a distributor picked it up. They loved the film. It's now played in 30 cities. It started end of January. It's continuing through spring. And the distributor says it'll probably go to 70 cities. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One realization this is Italy. This is Bologna.
Bello, vero? Ti è piaciuto? Bello?
Molto ben fatto, una grande carica veramente.
Ti è piaciuto il film?
Moltissimo.
Ti è piaciuto il film? Puoi dire qualcosa?
È stato bellissimo, emozionante, lo vorrei vedere altre 100 volte.
Le è piaciuto il film? Molto? Anche a lei le è piaciuto il film?
Sì, grazie.
Utilize, we feel feel the film could be utilized a lot more. Actually, there's many 50th anniversaries coming up of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in different countries and cities around the world. ISKCON 50th has come and gone, Prabhupada's arrival has come and gone, but let's bring the film back into and have a red carpet screening in the theaters. My favorite film review was from the LA Yoga magazine. Hare Krishna film is the second coming of Prabhupada. So I have a list of 70 events. In the next 6 years, we could have celebrations. So email me, yadubara.das, YADUBARA, no H, .das@gmail.com. I have the list. Also, one last thing, the film really instills faith in devotees and newcomers. Shraddha. I mean, at the end of the film, many people I've seen have tears. So if you can grab a person's heart, you have their mind. If you have their mind, you don't necessarily have their heart. So this does it in 90 minutes. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Yadubara Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Now a little update on the work of the ISKCON Constitution. First of all, let me introduce the core team. And I say core team because it's a collaboration of many devotees. We have Anuttama Prabhu, we have Devakinanda Prabhu, General Counsel of the GBC, we have Pragosh Prabhu, we have Nishinga Kavacha Prabhu,
Deity Minister,
Minister of Deity Worship. We have Pancha Ratna Prabhu,
the scribe amongst us,
who has been with this project since 14 years at least. And then we also have Rishabhanu Prabhu and Gopika Radhika Devi. And we want to tell you something about the work. We want to tell you something about the principles behind the work. So why an ISKCON Constitution? We have this letter to Giriraj from Srila Prabhupada. We are in the experimental stage, but in the next meeting of the GBC members, they should form a constitution how the GBC members manage the whole affair. So the idea, the fundamental idea is that we want a society based on the rule of law. There is the law of the jungle and there is the rule of law. The rule of law means when a group of individuals, in this case spanning many different countries, accept some common rules, accept some common guidelines, and throughout the world work according to those parameters.
Just like countries have their foundational document, their constitution, so Prabhupada wanted us to have a similar foundational document on what is ISKCON, who is Krishna, who is Prabhupada, what is the governing body commission, what's the nature of temples, who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All these different things are defined in terms of how we work together and what's our essential core principles.
Now, one guiding principle of our work is using the founder Acharya's words as much as possible. We want this constitution to be Prabhupadatmaka, made of Srila Prabhupada's words. This is his movement. He is the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we want his words, his instructions to reverberate through the generations. We also want to include a solid section on credo, on theology, on philosophy. It's a special constitution because the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is a special society.
From a legal point of view, having a constitution for a regional or local body is fairly simple. But to have a constitution that encompasses an entire world comprised of so many different entities which are registered in so many different manners becomes highly challenging. But the constitution, in basic principles of constitutional law, should fulfill a few objectives. The first objective it should fulfill is that somehow or another it should encapsulate the principles by which that society functions. That's a very important function of a constitution. The second principle it should be able to perform in the case of a religious society or a spiritual society like ISKCON is to make sure that we enshrine all the basic foundational principles of Krishna consciousness. We should not look at the constitution in terms of this generation. Many of the items that we would want to put within the sections of the constitution, like the credo, for example, may seem to you and me as what we call without doubt, or something that you and I already know. But a constitution is meant to move us from this point to the next, to the next, to the next. The test for us here is 100 years from now, if we had a batch of devotees who had no connection to the 100 years before, would they still be able, via the platform of the Constitution, be able to feel as connected to Srila Prabhupada as we are feeling today? That's the challenge, and that's what we're trying to prove.
So there are articles on Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srimati Radharani, the goal of life, Bhakti Yoga, the chanting of the holy name, the Guru Parampara. One goal is that this constitution, this document will serve as for a sense of identity and also to generate enthusiasm. Ideally, we want new devotees, they come to ISKCON, they want to know what's ISKCON all about, and they read this constitution and they become proud of the tradition, proud of the message, proud of the principles that the Constitution demonstrates. Now, another important point, we don't want just to be an inspirational document, we want it to be legal in nature.
When we say legal in nature, what we mean is this constitution will eventually be enshrined in an entity, and that entity will be a registered entity somewhere in the world. It could be a global entity with connections to different parts of the world according to different jurisdictions. There will always be challenges because we live in a multi-jurisdictional world. But the advantage of making the constitution legal by nature is that it becomes binding, and if it needs to be used in terms of strengthening or putting forward principles of law according to spiritual laws in a court of law, for example, the constitution becomes a very valuable document. Many of us would be thinking, how do we do that actually? Some of you may be asking questions like, I have a registered entity with a constitution. Will this constitution supersede mine? Will I have to align with this constitution? So on and so forth. The questions are there, and that's why this is an update to let you know that we have a team that must consider all these questions and more before we finally come down to crystallizing the legal nature of the document. Typically, lawyers ask more questions than give answers. So if you were looking for answers right now, we will tell you that this is a work in progress. But you must also understand that you had the opportunity to hear about the charter model. And the concept of the charter model flows very well with the concept of a constitution that then runs into different entities, which will not only be useful in terms of protecting the philosophy, but also be useful in terms of managing the society.
So we want this document to provide appropriate authority to the governing body commission. Srila Prabhupada in his will and testament said the GBC is the ultimate managing authority of the entire International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and to be able to govern, the GBC body needs to have appropriate clauses in the Constitution. It's meant for global application, like Devakinandan Prabhu was saying. The direction is that all incorporations, all registrations, when possible and as far as possible, should be connected directly with the central global ISKCON constitution. Very important. Who is the audience? There is an internal audience, all the devotees, all ISKCON practitioners, but there is also an external audience. Everybody was interested in ISKCON from any angle, from any perspective, will be interested in the constitution of ISKCON. That means the media, the government, interfaith. I'd like to add something.
Good, you said it. I'll just add, this is the third, we're looking here, this is a copy of draft number 3. It's been a process, talk about the process for a minute if I can. There's a committee made up of GBC members and others who are very thoughtful and knowledgeable in these areas. The GBC committee's worked on it, it's brought to the GBC, then we went out, we got input from other constituencies, other leaders around the world, so it's an ongoing process of drafting, getting feedback, redrafting, getting feedback. So it takes some time, but it's an important document. We want to make sure that it's done right.
Speaking about internal and external, internal is for us as devotees, but externally it becomes very helpful when ISKCON has to interface with government agencies, when ISKCON has to be in the limelight in public relations. There are many countries in the world where ISKCON is not really recognized or not really favored for a variety of reasons. But if we have statements here that show the world what is our view of some essential principles like interfaith, different religions of the world, that can become a good platform for us wherever we are in such difficult jurisdictions, to use that to convince the governments that we are not as fanatical or as secluded as some governments would view us. So the Constitution is a holistic approach to actually preaching Krishna consciousness. It's not only meant for us, but it's also meant for everyone else to see just what this society is about.
And it's a work in progress. As Anuttama Prabhu was saying, was showing, this is the third draft. We already circulated among all the GBCs, among all the gurus, among all the sannyasis, among all the Sabha members, zonal supervisors, global duty officers, BBT trustees, GBC deputies, and other selected individuals. More than 120 people have read the document and have commented. So right now we are working on the draft 4. We just, in a few days, we'll have a 3 days retreat, working retreat, to study better all the feedback, all the comments, and plan how draft 4 will be compiled. And the plan is that gradually more and more constituencies, more devotees will be involved in giving feedback and in commenting on the document. So this is an update on the ISKCON Constitution. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
So this will be our last announcement. We want to close with the words and the messages of 3 members of the governing body commission. We will have His Grace Pragosh Prabhu. We will have His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj and His Holiness Bhakti Vaibhav Maharaj, that as the chairman of the GBC body will conclude this ISKCON Leadership Sanga. So thank you all once again. Hare Krishna.
Pragosh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Appropriate that I'm coming after the Constitution talk. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Coming after the Constitution talk with Gopal Bhatta Prabhu's reference to the wonderful Prashadam, so I'm sure that your Constitution right now is doing fine. Actually, as we come to the end of this ILS, I'm sure that you're all now thinking and looking forward to the next one, yeah? Fantastic. That's really good. I was doing a seminar. I don't know if any of you attended it, but I was doing a seminar about Srila Prabhupada, that no ordinary guru, no ordinary acharya. And in essence, our movement, ISKCON, it's done quite well over the last 50 years or so, since Srila Prabhupada's departure. And that's primarily because we've kept Srila Prabhupada at the center. And I would make a fairly bold statement that going forward, if we don't keep Srila Prabhupada at the center, we will have absolutely nothing. ISKCON will disintegrate and cease to exist. However, if somehow or another we can follow that final instruction of Srila Prabhupada and cooperate together, have genuine unity and diversity, my prediction is that ISKCON and Krishna consciousness will spread faster, and I apologize to our Chinese friends in the audience, but it will spread faster than the coronavirus. Absolutely guaranteed. Actually, I heard a story recently, the onset of winter last, that there was a Native American group, and they had a new leader. And the new leader was a young chap. And he didn't have all the skills and traditions and whatever that came with the older members or leaders of his tribe previously. But still his people came to him and they said, "Oh, chief, is it going to be a hard winter?" Because they wanted to know how much wood they would have to collect. And he hadn't got a clue. But like me in life, he bluffed it. And he said to them, "Yes, I think it's going to be a tough winter." So they started to collect wood. And then he decided, I better ring up the local meteorological office, the weather station. And he rang them up. And he said, "Is it going to be a bad winter?" And they said, "Well, actually, we're not sure. But our hunch is that it will be." So he went back to his people and he said, "Yes, it's going to be a tough winter. You need to go out and collect wood." So they all went out and they started collecting more and more wood like that. And this happened about 3 times. And they had collected more wood than they'd ever collected in the history of their organization. And then he thought to himself, "God, I really hope it is a bad winter." So he rang up the weather station for the last time. And he said, "So I just want to confirm it's going to be a bad winter?" And the person said, "Yes, definitely, definitely. It's going to be one of the worst winters we've ever had." And then he just decided to ask them. He said, "How can you be so sure?" And he said, "We're not. But the Native Americans are collecting wood like crazy." So the world gets misled in so many different ways. So many different ways it gets misled. There's one true story about England about 150, 200 years ago. And you had people who had a job, and the job they had, it was called Jack of the Lantern. And the idea was that you had a person, it's kind of a good example actually of government looking after their citizens, even going back 150, 200 years. And they would have a lantern. And this was particularly in the northeast of England, the counties of Lincolnshire and Norfolk. And in those places, it's very marshy land. And it's very dangerous at night when people would be going home. They would walk through, and if they went in the wrong place, they would fall into the marsh, sink and drown like that. So you had these people, Jack of the Lanterns, with lanterns, and they would guide them through the safe routes through the marshes like that. But sometimes natural gases would come out of these marshes and they would self-ignite. And people would see the light, and they would think it was a Jack of the Lantern. And they would follow it, and they would follow it right into the marsh, and they would fall in, and they would die. So the world is lost. It's following the wrong light. And ISKCON really is. There may be other organizations and spiritual movements, but ISKCON certainly is one of them. And I guess all of us would argue it's the foremost one. And we are carrying the lamp of Srila Prabhupada. And if we carry that and burn that lamp bright, we will save all the lost souls on this planet Earth, the 7.5 billion humans and all the other living entities, and we can guide them with that lamp, the lamp of Srila Prabhupada, back home, back to Godhead. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki!
Bhakti Charu Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. When he came onto the stage, Bhakti Vaibhav Maharaj's comment to me was that so many wonderful devotees here. And I responded by saying that they are the leaders of ISKCON. They are our hope for the future. First of all, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to Gopal Bhatta Prabhu, Kaunteya Prabhu, and their team for organizing this wonderful, wonderful festival for all of us. We go back about 12 years ago. Gopal Bhatta Prabhu actually led us to a program to organize the strategic planning for our movement. And since then, we actually took that suggestion from Gopal Bhatta Prabhu so sincerely that the GBC body decided to have 2 meetings of the GBCs instead of 1. And we call it the midterm meeting. And the purpose of that meeting actually was to discuss about the strategic planning for our future. We have to strategically plan how to steer the movement forward for the benefit of the world in order to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's dream and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction. Then gradually they developed the organizational development committee. And this committee has been very, very effectively working, organizing ourselves, our movement, our institution in a very, very effective way, selecting the very committed and efficient devotees from our leadership. And this actually led us to also recognize one thing, that there are so many talents in our movement that were actually unrecognized. And it is due to that effort we began to recognize those devotees. ISKCON actually is a very unique arrangement of Srila Prabhupada. Krishna consciousness movement is going to spread all over the world in every town and village. And we all know, without a shadow of doubt, that Srila Prabhupada is the personality who has been sent by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to fulfill that prediction. It's so unique actually. Srila Prabhupada at the age of 70 goes to America, literally penniless, without any patronage, without any help, without any support, in total uncertainty, simply relying on the instructions of his spiritual master to him that was given to him about 43 years ago in 1922. And then what Srila Prabhupada did is the most amazing miracle that the world has ever seen. A 70-year-old penniless Indian came to America in a cargo ship, and while traveling, he had 2 heart attacks. Then when he came to America, he didn't even know whether to go to right or to left. And that is how he started the institution, started the movement, and in 10 years' time, what he achieved is going to be written in the golden words, golden letters in the book of history of this world. This movement, Krishna consciousness movement, is bound to spread. It is meant to spread, and it is going to fulfill Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction to the ultimate point, to every town and village. If we recognize that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then at least we can accept it without a shadow of doubt that his words are not going to go in vain. It is going to happen. Srila Prabhupada knew that he didn't have much time. He went to America at the age of 70, and he already was quite frail after having 2 heart attacks. So he knew that he didn't have much time, but he had this mission to establish. Therefore, one of the first things that Srila Prabhupada did was establish the institution of ISKCON, an institution that would continue his mission even after his disappearance. And he structured this institution in such a wonderful way. He placed himself as the spiritual head of the institution for all time. As long as ISKCON will be there, Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya of this institution is going to be there. And then Srila Prabhupada established a system of management that he actually inherited from his spiritual master. The concept of collective management through the governing body. And we can see that these 2 factors are actually holding our institution in a perfect way. Srila Prabhupada as the spiritual head and the GBC as the ultimate managing authority. This collective concept of management is a brilliant understanding or brilliant application. In an institution like this that's going to be there for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands of years, there's going to be a lot of difficulties. We have already seen after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, the difficulties that we had gone through. But all these difficulties have been successfully overcome due to this concept of collective management. I don't want to go into the details, but at least, I can tell you from my own experience that the GBC, concept of the GBC, the concept of collective management has saved this institution from some very, very critical calamities. And it will continue to do so. And this is the amazing genius of Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, we must consider that it's our extreme good fortune that we have this opportunity to become a part of this wonderful spiritual organization, ISKCON. And as members of this institution, as the leaders of this institution, we have the solemn responsibility to protect this institution with all our might, with all our ability, with all our resources. I had the good fortune of being with Srila Prabhupada during his last few months, with him practically 24 hours a day with him. And during those days, I received and I heard many instructions that Srila Prabhupada gave, and out of them I consider 3 of them to be most important. And I want to share them with you today. First one, no matter whatever happens, don't ever leave ISKCON. Second, your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate with each other. And the third one, GBC is the ultimate managing authority, function under the authority of the GBC structure. And I have tried to follow these 3 instructions to the best of my ability, and I can tell you they saved me from many, many calamities, many, many difficulties, and many, many crises that have come to my life in course of my spiritual progress. So please recognize the importance of the institution. Please recognize this institution's responsibility that is there and the responsibility that we have as the members of this institution. Thank you all very much.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadhyadeshatayane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I was asked to speak about learn to think of the future. We have Srila Prabhupada's personal example. He was thinking in so many different ways about the future. He had visions of the future. He made plans for the future. And in so many different ways, he inspired his disciples, his leading disciples, to think in similar terms. The last time I gave you a few powerful quotes. I will do the same this time, related to learn to think of the future. Often as leaders, we are being occupied in different ways with the immediate necessities of our International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And we hardly find time to effectively, in practical terms, to think about the future and to plan for the future. So I give you a few quotes. A goal without a plan is just a wish. A goal without a plan is just a wish. By failing to plan, you are planning to fail. I like this one. Again, by failing to plan, you are planning to fail. Plan your work and work for your plan. plan your work and work your plan. I was thinking the other day about our temple for Vedic planetarium. And I was thinking this must be Krishna's plan and Srila Prabhupada's plan, desire, to show, to demonstrate to those who have doubts, to those who have no visions of the future, and to those who have no plans for the future. It is a practical it is manifesting in front of our eyes. It is possible. It is possible to make plans for the future which will manifest such a massive project as the TOVP to spread the science and the culture of Krishna consciousness in such a powerful way. And Srila Prabhupada already had that vision long ago. He talked doing his morning walks, doing room conversations about this project. And many of us, for so many years, we thought it is not possible. How can we build such a project? It's just impossible. And then, as we know, Ambarish Prabhu and others, they stepped forward. What did they do? The plan was there, Srila Prabhupada talked about it. What did they do? They got together, they talked about it. The first, it happens in the mind. We think about it. Then the next manifestation is we talk about it. Next, we get together. Another nice quotation. Alone, we are limited. But together, we can accomplish anything. Alone, we are always limited. But together, if we work together, if we cooperate, if we make plans together for the future, we can do anything. And that's a practical manifestation. This temple of Vedic planetarium, it is a slap in the face of those who have doubts, who think it is not possible, cannot be done. Just look at it. And I'm convinced if we continue to work together, to form committees, initiatives, to make similar plans for the future, then Krishna consciousness will definitely spread to every home, every town, every family on this planet. And there's so many different levels of society. I'm convinced of it. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, Gauranga. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai 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 Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari 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 Haribo.
Jayom Vishnupat Paramahansa Paipatakachaya Satarasati Shri Shrimat His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki